in the room? Come on in the room. Bucks lose it tonight, 113-107 to the Boston Celtics at the crib. I'm filling in for Trey Crosby III, the guru. I don't know if I want to do the doc thing tonight either. You know, that's what Trey does all the time. He does the doc. He's our doctor. Nah, I don't think I'm doing that tonight after the second half. Blown lead. We had an 11-point lead at the end of the first, and the Boston Celtics won the third quarter by 14 points. We are live. I'm Chris King.
JT.
Pissed off Justin again.
Hey, man. So the Bucks lose it, fall to 2-8. Amazing game from Giannis. 42 points. Not a bad thing to say about that man. It was a typical Giannis performance against a team that gets all the credit, and as they should. They are the defending champions of the NBA Finals last year. But I feel like Giannis tonight came out with a chip on his shoulder, and he proved that he's still top 3, top 5, whatever you want to call it. We all think that he's probably the best in the league still, but regardless, Giannis did his thing tonight. We'll get into some of the game recap, some of what we saw, go through the box score a little bit. But what I'll say is this. The Milwaukee Bucks tonight, I felt like this doesn't need to be a doom and gloom podcast. I feel like this Bucks team actually showed some bright spots. I think earlier on in the game, in the first half, the way you were able to get out to that type of lead and hold on at halftime was the effort. I feel like these guys actually they gave a damn. They forced the Boston Celtics into some bad shots. We saw A.J. Green getting in there. We saw Ajax with his third consecutive start, jumping passing lanes, just being active. We saw Derry Bird get on the floor for loose balls. We saw Ryan Rollins at the end of the game be able to block some shots and be a force defensively. So I think, I think this podcast tonight should be a little more optimistic than the past couple of games where you didn't see the effort, where you saw the Knicks blow us out. And so we'll get into all that right here on the Cream City Crossover. Wanted to let you guys know, hey, man, we're at 992 subscribers, almost to that 1K mark. Hey, man. Hey, we're doing it. We're doing it. And we love giving you guys the content. We love being here for you, the most reliable post-game show on Milwaukee Bucks Twitter and YouTube. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Go hit that sub button. But, yeah, looking through the box score, I mean, you see Giannis with just an incredible game. He made his first three. He flashed all 3 levels of scoring tonight, although he just made 1 3. But he started off hot. He started off, like we said, proving a point to these guys and the national media that he can still hang with teams that are probably playing at a more superior level than the Milwaukee Bucks at this point. And I think that's what you saw when I think he got close to 20 points in the first quarter. So just a tremendous game from him. I thought Bobby Portis tonight, we still saw some of that black hole Bobby, but I'll let it slide tonight because he did his thing rebounding. I think he was able to keep some possessions alive that the Bucks desperately needed. I think Bobby Portis knocked down some more open shots when he found them, and then he also took advantage of mismatches. Like I saw him on Drew Holiday able to score a couple buckets down low. And then Taurean Prince missed a big 3 at the end, but I thought he was decent. He was a -9, 3 turnovers, but he had 9 points, 9 rebounds. So him effort-wise, if we get that any night of the day, any night of the season, if we can get that 9 points, 9 rebounds, especially if Dame and Giannis are getting it going, I think Taurean Prince is a really good option for the starting 5. Damian Lillard, we'll talk about him a little bit. I don't want to be too down on him, but I thought the effort was piss poor from him. Later on in the third quarter, I believe, maybe in the fourth quarter early, I saw him take the ball up, get it poked from behind, and forcing passes through double teams, taking deep mid-range shots that he did not need to take. Just a bad game from Damian Lillard. 4 of 15 from the field, 1 of 8 from 3. He just had 14 points, 6 assists, 4 rebounds. And then Brook Lopez, 2 of 6, 2 of 5 from the three-point line. He was all right. I felt like the bigs of the Boston Celtics did a good job on him. Neemias Queta came off the bench and did well against Brook Lopez. But and then we can move on to the Celtics real quick, and I'll let you guys give your thoughts. Jason Tatum with 31. Thought he played all right. Played what he should have played like, because last time we played him, we locked him up. Drew Holiday, some winning plays once again. We have the Boston Celtics fans and everything talking about how we should regret dealing Drew Holiday. And I mean, tonight the winning plays were the good defense later on in the game, and really a mirror image of what happened in the 2022 playoffs with us against the Celtics. Towards the end there, he got an offensive rebound, threw it off of Taurean Prince like he did Marcus Smart in that Game 5. So, yeah, Drew Holiday was good. And then looking down the line, I mean, Peyton Pritchard, got to talk about him. I feel like Richard Sherman when he was like, run the damn ball, Look, I'm thinking – get a hand up, send the double team, something to get Peyton Pritchard off that three-point line. The looks are too easy. I felt like he was able to keep them in the game in the first half when we got up 15 points, just trading blows, trading deep threes. We locked in on him in the second half, but first half Peyton Pritchard was really good. Overall tonight we'll get into some of the topics, tale of two halves, how we blew the lead, and where do we go from here. But that's what I saw. JT, what'd you see?
Man, a lot of what you saw too, but let's talk about that first half for a second because you talked about this before the show. This Bucks team came out with energy. They came out with energy. They looked like they wanted to fight. They already knew what time it was from the sense of you're playing the best team in the league tonight. Let's show up and let's show out. Giannis was looking flat out like Hercules, right? His boy, his Greek homeboy. Hercules was out there in that first half. Giannis with a strong 28. And, again, he couldn't miss. He was just hot. He literally looked like he came to play. They didn't have an answer. Similarly, you talked about this with Peyton Pritchard. Which is weird because it seems like we just lose him around that perimeter. He was 5 for 8 in the first half from 3. Now, I don't believe he made a 3 in that second half. And remember, the first time we played Peyton Pritchard, he was also, 5 for 8 in that first half from 3. I mean, I don't want to say he has the Bucks number. I don't want to say that because Justin pointed out for the show he's averaging 16 points per game this year, which is I think those are career numbers for him. Are very close to it as well. This was a night where you realize you talked about Tatum had 31 and 12. You realize he's 7 for 21 from the floor. I mean, this is a night where Jason Tatum 7 for 21. Jaylen Brown's 4 for 13. I mean, these guys just did not shoot well. They didn't play efficiently, and we had a chance to win this game, but tale of two halves, we're going to get into a little bit later, but it seems like that second half, we just couldn't sustain. We couldn't keep up that pace in the first. Now, Damian Lillard had a rough night, and I think this is his first really, truly rough night of this year. I mean, Dame, he didn't even have a 3 in the second half. Like, he made that one in the first, some impact plays. Now, I like the fact I love that alley-oop to Giannis in the first. Hey, we rocking. Here we go. We're getting this thing going. And I think, is that the first time we've seen an alley from Dame and Giannis this season? If there has been another one, maybe there's only been one, too. But I love this. And again, that goes part of that first half where things are clicking, guys are rocking, everybody, role players are doing their job. And that second, it fell apart. And again, this is supposed to be the best team in the league against Boston, and I thought we competed. I agree with you, Chris. I don't think this team has anything to hang their heads about. Having said that, hey, maybe that formula moving forward is Giannis, Dame, y'all get out there and cook. Everybody else just role play. Solely just do your role. Just hey, stay in your lane, play your part. Last thing I'll say is the numbers didn't look too bad for Bobby Portis, but again, this is another night where there were just stretches where it just, hey, man, I don't know what's going on out there. But we call him Bobby Buckets when he's hot, Bobby Black Hole when he's not. I think we saw a little bit of both tonight.
Yeah, not just Bobby tonight, man. We have so many mental errors in this third and fourth quarter, man. I know we're gonna get to the tale of two halves, but real quick, what I saw is just fundamental stuff you can't have. You can't have delay a game technical foul penalties when you're struggling to get a win. I saw the young guys in the first half, they really provided a spark and played well. And the thing that I'm always talking about is if you're not going to score the basketball, impact the game in other ways. I thought all three of the guys from Rollins, Ajax, AJ Green, and all those guys, even when they weren't scoring, they definitely played a lot better on the defensive end and hustling for loose balls, getting out of there, getting some floor burning and stuff like that. And like you're talking about before, Chris, there's a lot of positive stuff that we saw in this stuff. Hey, don't want to dump on Dame too much. This is probably his second or third bad game of the year. I think when you're a jump shooter and stuff like that, it's going to happen. I'm just tired of seeing Peyton Pritchard have a better stat line than him when we play the Celtics. Like, it's a little bit frustrating when Dame's supposed to be one of the best players in the NBA. But, I mean, all in all, man, this team, there's some things that we saw going forward and stuff like that. And I think we'll build on this. And like Trey said in the chat, we'll win the next 3. And, life could be worse. We could be a Brooklyn Nets fan. Shout out to all y'all in the chat too, bums.
Yeah, we got some Brooklyn Nets fans in the chat talking about how we got a
we do?
hospital ring. But yeah, but listen, this is the thing. If you're going to use that logic, then the Boston Celtics damn sure got a hospital ring last year. Barely even have to play anybody healthy. But look, Trey Crosby, obviously he's not here. And I'm filling in for him, and he disagrees with us. He says there's 0 positives outside of GA, just not good enough, not enough effort. Dame stunk it up. Bucks must win the next 3. Hey, man, I agree to an extent that there wasn't enough effort, and I think we'll talk about that in the tale of two halves with blowing the lead and allowing them to get out hot. But at the same time, like, Seeing how we were able to build that lead after the first half with the younger guys out there. Because remind you, this is a team that was playing Gary Trent Jr. This was a team that was playing DeLon Wright in these first couple of games, and you were losing games, and you're playing probably the best team right now in the NBA, even though the record, the Cavs got undefeated right now. But you're probably playing the best overall team in terms of chemistry-wise, and you were able to build a double-digit lead. I think that's certainly a positive that the young guys were at least able to make an impact and make their presence felt being in the game. Some more comments here. We got KJ. Prince was terrible effort-wise. Dame is not a good playmaker. Brooke is too slow. Bobby needs to pass more. Pat needs to just sit on the bench. Sometimes vets end up at the end of the bench. Doc is too loyal. Yeah, I mean, look, I thought Pat had for the minutes that he did play in the second half, he did okay. Knocked down a big 3 there at the end. The effort was there. I think he had a back cut that he got a nice open layup on, and Giannis was finding his teammates tonight. But I think you're right that it's too up and down. It's too inconsistent with most of this Milwaukee Bucks team, and that's why I think you see the dips from one half to another, and that's where we'll go to tale of two halves. Look, this Bucks team was up. I think they were up 11 at half. And I honestly, I think it could have been more, right? Like, we had a 15-point lead here, get cut down to 12, go back up to 15 with an A.J. Green 3. And then we had, I think we had some lazy bad shots from Dame, lazy turnovers, and some missed open ones that probably prevented you from being up maybe 15, 18, 20 points and would have gave you a bigger cushion. But sometimes that just doesn't matter with the Doc Rivers coach team right now. And we saw some of this last year, right? Like, the third quarter is always, all right, how are we going to adjust? We know this Boston Celtics team is going to throw a punch. That's just what they do. They've got the three-point shooters to do it. They've got the scorers to do it on ball. And to not be ready for that is very concerning for me, especially from what we saw all last year. We were able to start off the game strong. Giannis always comes out 110 miles an hour and always imposes his will on opposing defenses. So it's frustrating when you're not able to build off of leads coming out of the break. It makes me question what is going on in the locker room. Are we not analyzing what is working? Are we not getting back to winning basketball? Or what are we doing at halftime? And that's been an issue as well with Doc, like through breaks and timeouts and stuff like that. We're getting killed. And second half, ultimately, I think the Boston Celtics showed that they can move the ball better. I feel like the looks that they got in the second half are so much easier than the Milwaukee Bucks are able to get. And why that is, maybe it's an off night from Dame here and there. Maybe it's an off night from your role players not able to knock down open ones. Maybe it's, all right, nobody else is showing up, and it's just Giannis. And I think that's also what kind of played a part into blowing the lead. We didn't have much else going for us outside of Giannis tonight, and that's why he put up 42. But just a frustrating game in terms of being able to be up and having the crowd in it and having that double-digit lead and then ultimately letting it go sideways really fast. Especially, I mean, it was the first 3 minutes and the Boston Celtics tied it up and took the lead. So that's something that's got to be fixed. I don't know how it gets fixed, but you guys can go ahead and weigh in on it.
Well, I think, we've established this year, especially while Chris is out, this is going to be the Giannis and Dame show offensively. And that's just pretty much what you've really seen is those two consistently, for the most part, coming out and being your big hitters on offense. Now, tonight, I mean, Dame at 415, this is rare. This is not going to happen consistently. At least you certainly hope it does not. And I've seen nothing this year that says we should expect this from Dame. This is a one-off. And part of the issue tonight is Dame goes 4 for 15. This team loses tonight by what? 6 points? I mean, rarely ever is that going to be the case where, Dame shoots 50% tonight from the field, maybe even 40%, and you probably do win this game, right? Even if you're not 4 for 15 and you're 6 for 15, either way, right? You certainly think Dame plays a little bit better. That's one thing too. One thing I do want to point out though as well, because I got to give this man credit. We got to talk about my boy Derrick Bird, because Derrick Bird, since AJ Green's gotten more playing time, he has done his part. I 100%, and I would argue that Derrick Bird has been, and it's tough because you got Andre Jackson Jr. with his impact, but Derrick Bird from the young boys has been an impact player. He may be the young boy having the biggest impact on his team right now. If you look over the last 5 games when he started actually getting substantial minutes. Again, another one was like 4 for 6 from 3 tonight. Had a couple big ones in the first, had a couple big ones in the second half too. But he's out there kind of doing his thing. I do want to point that out. But yeah, I mean tonight, and again, I agree with that. I don't want to harp on Dame. Some of them shots were just bad. Like their just misses were just bad. And Dame throughout his career has made these shots before. It just was bad. It was an awful. Some of it was an awful look. And somebody said in the chat, Bobby needs to pass more. I agree with that. Sometimes Bobby, hey man, we got to reel him in because Bobby Green, like that's not a good thing if them shots ain't going in. So, but yeah, just a rough loss. And this one hurts a little bit because we didn't have to lose this game. We were in this game. We were competing with this team. They were playing bad too. We definitely could have stole this one. And that transition, Chris, you talked about this too. The second half. Something about Doc in that first 5 minutes in the second half, the first 5 minutes of the third quarter, I don't know what it is. A guy's sleeping or a guy's eating oranges in the locker room or what. But, the Celtics came out. Was it like an 8-0 run? And that lead was cooked at that point. So that's what I saw, fellas.
I think it was almost 12-1. First half, and we had a chatter talking about the efforts for Prince. Prince in that first quarter was inhuman. He was making shots, doing what he needed to do, deflecting balls. He was playing pretty good defense, and he's hooping in the first quarter. Now, second half maybe less to be desired, right? AJ Green, timely shots. Giannis, every which way, Dirk shots he was making, just playing great basketball. And we went into that second half and we got sloppy. In the final 5 minutes of the game, Brooke, I think he had a couple turnovers. Dame Lillard, 14 points, 1 for 8 from the three-point line, like you gentlemen have already mentioned. Bad shot selection and stuff like that. I feel like we found every way to lose possible this year already. And we're only, we're 10 games in. Or 8, I don't even know how many games we're in. Like, all this losing is starting to get confusing to me. But one thing that I will say about the Boston Celtics, man, and just keep it a buck with you, like, I hate them. I don't like you. I've been a Bucks fan forever. So, it is what it is. But we saw the example of a team who's been together for some time play together. And we talked about this at the beginning of the year when Giannis went to play for Greece and a lot of these other teams working together in the offseason. Fortunately for the Celtics, they had half their team except for the guy who truthfully belonged to be there on the Olympic team. So they got to put in more work together, right? We didn't have that work this summer. So we're starting to see these struggles and stuff like that early on. Brooke could have been better as well. But man, lastly, man, Mazzulla was I can't really say he outcoached. It's a combination between him outcoaching Doc from the Celtics staff and from this team not executing. Mm-hmm. And if we don't execute, we're going to continue to struggle like this. And there's no team that I can look on this schedule and say, we're definitely better than without this lack of execution. Giannis drops 40, should be a win. Looking forward to Middleton coming back and stabilizing that and at least making it better next year. Better when he comes back, excuse me.
But one thing that I will say, and one thing that concerns me, though, is we keep talking about Chris Middleton coming back. Does anybody, one, have a hint of when he's going to come back? Two, is this going to be the ramp-up thing where, we do the ramp-up thing where Trey talked about the vertical ramp last year that Middleton was coming back and ramping up. And I think we're hoping, Middleton comes back, it's going to stabilize. Middleton comes back, it's going to stabilize. But at the end of the day, we have no idea what Middleton's going to look like when he comes back. We have no idea how this is going to work as far as if he's going to come back and he's going to be playing 10 minutes at a time or not. Not to mention, there is the fact that something could get aggravated. It could not be comfortable. We have absolutely no idea. Maybe he gets hurt again. I don't know. I just don't think Chris Middleton is the fix-all or the panacea to all of the issues that this team has, especially not yet, right? There's still, to me, a level of skepticism when he comes back, or at least initially that first few games, where I'm wondering, I mean, is that going to really make that much of a difference? But another thing, and, Justin, you alluded to this. Sometimes you get out coached, sometimes you get out schemed. And, but chemistry. That's what the Celtics seem to have is chemistry. Their role players step up when needed. They do their part. They do their job, even when their stars are down, right? By any means, Jason Tate, look, when you go 7 for 21, you shot your team out the game. I don't care what your total scores are. I mean, you literally are. With those kind of numbers, typically, you're shooting your team out the game. I mean, that's awful. And when you're doing, and even Jaylen Brown going 4 for 13, that's not good. By no means is that good. But it didn't matter because look at what their role players did. Look at the efficiency of their role players, and look at the guys that knocked down shots and helped them pull off this win. For Boston, this was a team win. You 100% got to look at this and go, yeah, that's a team win. Looks like a team win. For the Bucks, it was a team effort in that first half. I would argue it's a team effort with Giannis being Hercules. But yeah, I mean, that second half, not so much.
Yeah, yeah, no, you're good. Want to remind everybody, just like up the stream, get this thing rolling. We appreciate everybody listening, and this is has been kind of the theme of this year, man. It's losses, 8 post game losses. We're 2-8 right now. You guys bring up good points about Chris Middleton, and the chat says what's going on with this offense, and I think that only poses a bigger problem because Chris Middleton isn't our savior. We know this. It can make the offense flow a little bit better, but that's ultimately going to be on Doc. How are you going to implement this guy into an offense that is struggling? How are you going to implement him into a lineup where you've got Dame and Giannis taking most of the shots? You want to get Chris some open looks, but then defensively, has he lost a step because of the injuries? It's something that I don't think we can necessarily rely on to ultimately turn around the season like Chris is just going to come back and we'll be all right. No, we need to consistently bring 48 minutes of great effort like we saw in the first half. And when Chris comes back, I think this needs to be a situation where you're not relying on Chris to be the end-all, be-all. You've got to make sure that this team is on the same page, find a way to gel. It's going to be tough having him back into this lineup because, look, this guy's a great scorer, but if we have no flow in the offense, how is it going to work implementing somebody new into it? So all things to definitely consider. We've got a ton of comments coming in. KJ says Doc should see that the vets is not going to keep up the consistent energy and off-ball movement like the younger guys. Listen, I agree with that. I guess you guys can go around as well and kind of talk about what you guys saw from Derry Bird, from Ajax, and from Ryan Rollins there towards the end. I don't think he played well considerably offensively, but I think he did some things defensively and effort-wise that kind of flipped the game and give you a new life in terms of getting out in transition, getting back in transition, and they're able to knock down some shots at least. They need to be out there to find that kind of consistency. So what do you guys think of the young guys tonight?
So, again, I mean, I talked about with Derry Bird. I thought Derry Bird did his part. He did his part. He was impactful out there. I'm not against, while you don't have Chris Middleton in there, if you end up rotating Derry Bird in there and he ends up being in that starting line, I'm not against that at all. I mean, we played like 28 minutes tonight as well. Like, I'm certainly not. I think Derry Bird is a bright spot out of these young boys on this team. If you're looking for a young contributor on this team, honestly, the only two you really are going to look at and expect anything would be probably Andre Jackson Jr. and Derry Bird. Having said that, you got guys like Ryan Rollins. Hey, it's nice when Ryan Rollins out there playing D. Hey, I like that. Right? I don't expect you. I'm not expecting Ryan Rollins to get out there and get buckets, just like Andre Jackson Jr. I'm not expecting Andre Jackson to get out there and get buckets. But what I am expecting them to do is get out there and make plays whatever way you can. And I see, Ryan Rollins. All right, hey man, listen. If you show me something on defense, cool. Eventually we'll see if we see something on offense too. But show me something while you're out there. What I can't have these young boys out there doing, because Doc doesn't play the young guys. What they can't be doing out there is just out there doing cardio. Don't be out there going. Don't be out there going from block to block. Don't do that. Don't be going from 3-point line to 3-point line to free throw line to free throw. Don't be doing that. No. Don't. I need you to get in the way. Look, if you can't steal it, deflect that pass. If you can't do that, I need you to be in somebody's face, make them pass out of that move instead of like, damn, he would have normally taken that shot, but the defense was a little bit too sticky, and he had to kick it somewhere else, right? I need you to be out there doing something. What you can't do is be out there doing cardio and getting paid for it.
No, absolutely, man. And like you said, man, you're not looking for Rollins and Ajax to come in and be an offensive threat. And it kind of goes into with Dame. We're not looking for you to come in and be defensive all first team and stuff like that. Just getting guys' way and make it a little bit difficult. And whatever we lose on that defensive end, we need you to make up on the offensive end. Now, if you look at Dame's numbers for this year, he's been doing that except for today. Today was a bad Dame game. And I think when you are a jump shooter, again, you're going to have a bad game, right? This is sometimes the ball is just not going to go in the bucket. Is he unplayable then? I don't know. Because there's always that threat, that Reggie Miller philosophy, shoot or shoot. But for them young guys, man, I just like to see it, man. They're going, there's no fear in the world. Rollins, it was a horrible turnover, and Prince and Rollins got back on defense and made sure that ball went off of the Celtic, and we got the ball back out of a great challenge by Doc as well. So that type of stuff is just what we're looking for, man. But look, there's a lot of things wrong with this team. I do not think Chris Middleton is our knight in shining armor, right? I don't think he's walking out of the thing and he's prime Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. But what I do think is I think that Chris allows guys to play more into their role and allows that guy to be more comfortable in his position, in his role. And maybe he's just even that momentum guy that when you see him come back, he's back and he's coming with it. And then everyone else could get more confidence to him and they can start walking with a little bit more swagger. Because other than Giannis and Dame, we don't really have any swagger guys that really believe it. Well, maybe Bird. Derry Bird believes in himself because the way he shoots that rocket's great. But just to clear, no one's blaming Giannis. No one's blaming Dame. I'm not blaming Doc. This is a top-down effort from the owners all the way down to the girl that wipe or guy that wipes the floor. This is top-down. We're bad as an organization right now, and we have too many high-caliber players to continue to put this forth of product out there on the basketball floor, man. The Bucks fans deserve more than that, man.
No, you're exactly right. I want to break in with some breaking news, man. We had 1,000 subs. Hey, man.
We had 1,000 subs. Hey. And you know what, man? We appreciate y'all. We started this thing just a year ago. We figured, we started the Cream City crossover on every. It was just like yesterday. We were sitting around in the group chat kicking it, and we were like, man, nobody covers the Bucks like from a post-game perspective. It's really, you get your national media guys that watch probably 5 Bucks games a year. They say crazy stuff like Bobby Portis is like the third most important guy on this team. And you go, Mike Wilbon, where the hell did you get that from? Like, what are we doing? Right. And so we saw that happening and we said, well, let's just talk about the Bucks post-game. Let's try to be consistent and have something like an inside the NBA style where we got jokes flying left and right, but we just talk about what we see. And we did that. We want to do that for y'all. We wanted to be a space where everybody, Bucks fans, could all come and watch and have some folks interact with them. I mean, I guess you could probably watch something on TV, but they don't know you there, right? They're not paying attention to y'all, and you can't really interact with that. So we wanted to do that with y'all, and you guys have supported us, and y'all been rocking with us. We're gonna keep pushing this content. But man, I just want to take a moment to tell you we appreciate y'all, and seriously, even the Nets fans in the chat, even the Knicks fans in the chat, hating you watching, and we appreciate that. Because you could have been doing anything in the world, but you're rocking with us.
Yeah, man, you guys make this thing go. I'll say that. I was telling the guys, like, you guys are the ones that make this thing so fun to do, and so much discussion that we have is based upon you guys up in the chat, and you guys really kick it, and we have a good time all the time. And look, we're only 10 games into this season. I hope that we're able to extend this post-game show even past the first round like last year. Because we had a rough exit there, but like I said, you guys are amazing. You guys are awesome, and we'll get Trey Crosby back here in no time. So we'll go all 4 of us in there. No subs, no filling roles. But yeah, man, look, I think this Bucks team tonight, it is a like we talked about, tale of 2 halves. We've got to give the effort for a full 48 minutes. Some chats that are rolling in right now are kind of questioning the shot selection from Dame, questioning I feel like he was antsy to just score. Like, I don't know why he was trying to ISO ball a lot late game. I feel like, you had Giannis going. He was going, I mean, he had a rough stretch of the third quarter, didn't score much, but then he ended up turning it up again. And in these clutch time moments, right, where we're fighting neck and neck, 95-95, 96-97, we've got to have reliable options. And tonight, I just feel like down the stretch, Damian Lillard was not there to provide that for us. And on the opposite end, you had open shots. You had guys creating looks for Derek White, Jason Tatum knocking down a big three there at the end. And it's just you've got to be on the same page towards the end of games, and especially against a team that's a great team. And admittedly, the Boston Celtics play really well together. And so I think that's you're always posed with a tough challenge when you've got a guy who's taking shots early into the shot clock, missing them badly, and then it's just the other way. And you're giving them more opportunities than you're able to give yourselves, because we're not offensive rebounding an air ball into the first row of the stands, right? Like we're not doing that. We can't have these bad misses off of the side of the rim that just roll to the Celtics. They get a transition opportunity. And I think that this isn't a situation where we're going to blame Dame, because he's been phenomenal throughout this season, a couple bad games here and there, but I feel like the slack needed to be picked up in other ways. But I feel like if you're able to kind of put that whole thing together as a collective, as a group, with some of the young guys that you're plugging and playing, and if they're able to get Gary Trent Jr. going at some point during this season, because we know his ceiling is high, but we know that he hasn't even been close to that this season. I think you'll be able to find some key victories throughout this season that'll get you back on track. It's rough. I feel like, listen, Dame played poorly. That is how you got to put it. And it's not to harp on it. It's just you didn't get the contribution that you need out of Dame on a nightly basis from a team that's inconsistent. So we got a question in here. Would you trade Brook to LA with D'Lo as the main piece back? That's posed by Trey Crosby III. I don't know. Listen, Trey has more sources than me. He's more in tune with the NBA. In terms of trading, and you know, his boy Danny Levin is a guy who knows how the salary cap stuff works. So this is a question Trey poses. Look, I think if you get a normal scorer like D'Lo, and you deal Brook to a team that probably needs him, I mean, I don't see why not at this point. You're definitely going to need some more size. I mean, you run Giannis at the 5 a lot here and there, but he would have to have an uptick in minutes at the 5. You grab D'Lo, man, that's not a bad option. We've seen him light the Bucks up last year. He can score it at a high level, but once again, my problem with D'Lo would just be the inconsistency, and he shows that throughout his career. Like he can go 10 of 14 and drop 30, but he can also go 1 of 14 and shoot you out of a game, and then we're dealing with another Dame on our team.
But then you think about it like this too, though. If you trade Brook for D'Lo, now you got a big hole. That puts Bobby in that starting lineup, right? Like that's gonna put Bobby in that starting lineup. Which, okay, right? Like, I mean, and not to say, but I think Bobby's more of a six on this Bucks team. Bobby's more of a 6-man guy. Yes, he can fill in and start here and there, but his whole groove has been coming in, being that energy, being that guy, making play. You put Bobby in as a starter. Okay, I mean. Okay, right? Like if you're going to roll with that for the rest of the year here, unless of course there's good. From a basketball perspective, I think there's got to be a corresponding move. You don't trade Brook for D'Lo without, okay, well now you got to go get a big. You got to do something, unless of course you do put your faith in Bobby and say he's going to be the guy, he's going to be the other big, and we're going to make this thing work. I feel like there's an element of risk with that trade, because yes, you get a bucket. D'Lo can get a bucket. There's no question about that. But you're going to give away a lot with Brook defensively, at least at the minimum defensively too, and you may create another hole for yourself. So man, if LA wants to make that trade, you got to give us something else too. You got to give us something. We need something else, or maybe there's a 3-team trade too. But you got to get another big in here, because that's a huge hole in your starting 5 if you do get rid of them. Not to mention, you're probably going to take a step back. I mean, listen, we're probably pretty low ranked defensively right now. I haven't checked it, but you may get a bit lower without Brook in that starting lineup too.
Yeah, very much so. I think that is a super step back for the team. It's going to put a lot of pressure on Giannis's legs and stuff like that. That's one of the reasons why we left the playoffs early last year, because Giannis had a contact leg injury. It almost forces you to play Giannis at the 5, which that may look good in the playoffs, and that may be a good time to do it. But throughout the entire duration of the regular season, I'm not for it. I don't think if you trade D'Lo, we get the same thing as Dame, no, because.
And wait a minute. And hang on, I gotta go back on something else too. I gotta go back on something else. Those of y'all who are, some of y'all, I mean, this is a few years ago, so this might be an OG thing, but there's that whole problem that we got with D'Lo when he sold out Nick Young. And basically he recorded Nick Young when they was sitting around in the living room and Nick Young was talking about how he was messing with other women when he was dating Iggy Azalea. Mm-hmm. And D'Lo did all that, which is this is G code. You don't do that, man. And so I say all that to say that this is an aging team. You're going to bring D'Lo in here. These guys got families. Let's say, folks got other hobbies and extracurriculars. You really want to bring a dude in the locker room who don't nobody trust? Everybody looking like, we ain't rocking with D'Lo like that.
Well, right? You're probably not finding Iggy Azalea in Milwaukee. I'm just saying. Don't hate. I'm just saying.
Well, no, I mean, she's probably moved on. She got had a kid with Buddy, the struggling rapper, Playboy Cardi or whatever, and she's into Bitcoin and everything else now, so she's doing okay for herself. But I remember that happening with D'Lo, and I gotta wonder what kind of human being he is, because if you come and you bring a guy into the locker room like D'Lo and he's on that BS and on that I mean, you create a lot more problems for yourself, especially when you have a Bucks team right now that's really call a spade struggling. And I'm a little curious as to how strong this locker room is to hold this thing together if these losses continue to pile up. Bringing D'Lo in ain't the answer at that point.
And that's a question that'll definitely, like we said, will be answered by the national media. I would not be surprised if there's a story that comes out from Windhorst or Chris Haynes about how all these guys aren't getting along together in the locker room. I mean, they already tried to spin Giannis's post-game interview after the New York Knicks, he was telling somebody, if you're okay with losing, then get out. He wasn't. I don't think he was talking to anybody that was directly involved with the Bucks. But anyway, we can look at. Yeah, it was a reporter. Yeah, so we could take a look at. Yeah, go ahead.
One thing on the D'Lo, man. Being a Packers fan on this show, we sat through 7 years of the body language police with Aaron Rodgers. If you watch a lot of the Lakers stuff, they're all on the body language police with him. I'm more confident in this group of guys figuring it out, riding this ship, getting back to 500, getting above 500 than I am of D'Angelo Russell coming in here. And J2, you're absolutely right with that, man. It's not just the snitching on Nick Young stuff that's a problem. He seems to have a problem in every locker room he's been in from an outsider's perspective.
Yeah.
And some talented player. I mean, from offense, D'Lo can get a bucket offensively. Now, the other issue you have here is I don't think D'Lo's very big. He's a relatively small guy. What's D'Lo, 6'3"? Let me see here. What's D'Angelo Russell, 6'2"?
Something like that.
So, again, you have a guy who's not very big and a guy who's not known for defense. And listen, Damian Lillard is my guy. I'm a ride for Dame. I'm gonna defend Dame in conversations outside of Bucks conversations. But at the end of the day, Dame's another guy who's not very big and does not really. We don't look to Dame for defense. It's not that he can't play, and it's just we don't look for Dame to play defense. We don't. You didn't bring in the top 75 player in here to get steals and to make guys pass out of situations and force bad shots, and even alter shots. If Dame does something defensively wonderful, you brought Dame in to get buckets. You brought Dame in to be one of the best scoring guards that we've seen in the history of this league. So, yeah, I don't know. I'll pass on the D'Lo thing, but I don't know. Maybe we listen to Hashimura, right? Maybe what they talking about with your boy, right? What's up with Roy?
Yeah, and if you're able to mold Ryan Rollins into a consistent scoring option, maybe not necessarily 15, 20 points a night, but if you're able to get those kind of looks to fall from him, and if you're able to get a defensive effort like we saw in the second half, I think you're good. Riding the young guys, because I think they'll be. I think that they have the grit, they have the determination, they have the athleticism to compete at this level. It's just about all the pieces falling together. I want to take a look at some chats here. Arrow says, first time tuning in. I like the takes and angles. I appreciate it. We appreciate you tuning in. William D. Jacksonville, Celtics Nation in the building. You guys do a great job. We appreciate that, even though we're big rivals. Grant Williams would look good on this team, I think, and that was an option. If we think back to that trade deadline when he was shipped off, what was it? He got traded to the Mavericks, correct?
Hornets.
Well, at the trade deadline, he was on the Mavericks, right? And then did he get dealt to the Hornets at that deadline? I don't know, but anyway, I think they had.
That's another one though.
Yeah.
Locker room, Grant.
Yeah, I mean, but at least he would be gritty against a Celtics team. You know, we saw what he did to, who was it, Jason Tatum, where he just checked Jason Tatum. We saw some of that from Giannis actually tonight. He elbowed Jaylen Brown, had the little fake handshake. But listen, yeah, man, it's definitely tough. It's super tough to go out like this. And I think there are some ways to move forward, especially looking at the schedule. But first, I want to give a big thank you to our sponsor, Curly's. You guys, Waterfront Sports Bar and Grill, you guys can go there during all Bucks televised games and get $3 bottles and pints. And they give away Bucks tickets. You need Bucks tickets. You need to get in the Pfizer Forum. They were rocking tonight, even though it was a loss. Section 102, row 23 seats, 1 and 2. And then they got bingo every Wednesday night, and Thursday night they've got trivia. I don't have a trivia question for you guys. I'm sorry. Is that under preparation? I don't know. But yeah, like I said, we could.
I hope Curly's.
What's up?
I was just gonna say I hope Curly's stocking up on that $3 stuff because the way this going right now, man, we running out. Yeah. There ain't gonna be no more $3 beers left.
Hey man, and tell them the Crimson crossover sent you too. If that is something you want to indulge in, just drowning your sorrows after 8 losses to start this season, just 2 little victories. But the schedule does admittedly get easier from here. We've got Toronto on Tuesday. We've got Detroit on Wednesday, a back-to-back. But I think those are very winnable games. Detroit's been playing at a decent level, but I mean, we're 2-8 right now. Everybody's playing at almost everybody's playing at a better level than what we're playing in terms of win-loss. And then you got Charlotte on Saturday. I know Justin and Trey will be in the building for that. That'll be a good one. They're playing well. Brandon Miller's looking like the guy that needed to be, selected before Scoot Henderson. I like that. And you got the Houston Rockets after that next Monday. You got the Chicago Bulls on that Wednesday. Pacers on November 22nd. That's probably from a on-paper perspective, that's probably your toughest game out of the next, 6? So, I mean, you got an opportunity to build off of what was a decent effort in one half tonight. And so I think if you're able to kind of get that kind of contributions from the young guys, if they're able to provide that type of effort for 48 minutes, I think there's some wins to be had on this schedule. Will Doc adjust? Will they play the right guys? How will Gary Trent Jr. get acclimated back to the lineup if he is going to play at all? And, those are some questions I have. What do you guys think?
Yeah, you look at your next 5 games. You got the Raptors on Tuesday. You got the Pistons on Wednesday. You got the Hornets on Saturday. The Rockets on the 18th, and the Bulls. Right. So if you look at this, I mean, realistically speaking, you would think that, yeah, you can get some wins in here. Having said that, and the way this team has played, we have lost to the Brooklyn Nets, which should have been an easy dub. We have lost to the Chicago Bulls, which should have been an easy dub. We have lost to teams that on paper are just inferior teams. I mean, any way you put it, right? These are teams who they fans are going to be celebrating in the street. They even make the playoffs. So, we've lost to these teams. So technically, as of right now, we are no better than the absolute worst. And the crazy thing is, guys, we're in it right now. We're 14th in the East. The only team we are better than in the East right now is the 76ers. Funny thing, because Doc still got a few of his fingerprints on that 76ers team. Anyway, I just had to get that out because, y'all know how I feel about Glenn, but he here with us. He a Marquette guy. He a Milwaukee guy. So we got to rock with Glenn, right? Anyway, but I mean, the Raptors are a step up from us, the same record where they're 2-8. The Wizards, the Hawks, the Pistons. I mean, right now, guys, look, right now the Pistons got more. They got double the amount of wins that we got right now. We can't even overlook the Pistons. We really can't. We really can't do that. We can't overlook any of these teams. We got the Hornets, by the way. Don't look now; they 4th in the East. I didn't know that. But yeah, I mean, we should get some wins. I'm predicting that we get at least 2 wins out of this next 6. I'm not gonna put no money on it because I ain't gonna do that. But just a thought.
Dang, only 2? Sheesh. We
And I
get
said,
two.
well, the operative words were at least 2 wins out of this next 6. I said
Yeah,
at least
we got it. We got at least. I'm gonna start worrying about that 794 bridge in Wisconsin if we get 2 wins out of this next couple, man. I really think like this effort that we've shown against Cleveland, against Boston both times, this effort should be able to beat 5 out of the next 6, provided we show up and we play like that. Should be able to. Now the question is, are we going to show up like that? Or are we going to roll the balls out and look at them and say, oh, they're just this Brooklyn Nets type team and we should deserve to beat them? I think with us, though, and I mean, obviously, we're not on the team, so we can definitely look ahead. But I think that this team needs to find a way to beat Toronto first before they look at anything. And you got and then go from there. Because right now, like you said, JT, and like you said, Chris, we can't overlook anyone. There's not one team that we can overlook. I want to ask you guys a question, though, real quick. So I know a lot of times, like when you look at, because JT, you mentioned Doc and Marquette. You looked at Doc and Doc would go give speeches to Marquette and kind of hype the kids up and stuff like that. Would it be crazy to have Shaka Smart come give these guys a pep talk speech?
No, it wouldn't be crazy because you know what you got to do? Hey, whatever. Listen, you know who you need to go get is what's old boy's name?
David Goggins.
Yes, go get David Goggins. Right? Listen, go get David Goggins. But hey, I need you to make a motivational, like, I don't know, a 10-minute track for every single player on this team individually. I'm going to show you the film. I'm going to show you the strengths. I'm going to show you everything. All right, cool. David, hey, make a motivational track for this player so we can have this in his AirPods. You can have it in this player, AirPods in the shooting round, getting everybody to lock in. No, I don't think that's crazy at all at getting Shaka Smart or E.T. the hip-hop. I don't care who the hell you got to get to come here and motivate this team because that's the thing. Giannis is that guy in the locker room who I think is keeping people in check and keeping people accountable, but he can't do it all by himself. Bobby Portis is another one, but again, you know, Bobby Portis, how you gonna check somebody and you playing bad, right? Like that's not hang on. And so that's the other thing as well. Dame, I just don't think that's his personality. I don't. And what you can't do is ask somebody to do something outside their personality because it's not authentic and that doesn't resonate. So at the end of the day, yeah. Whoever you got to get to come in here and motivate this team and fire them up, let's do it. But you know what? Real soon, guys, we got to start looking at Doc. I know. I don't want to start this in the chat where everybody's like, oh, you know, we're going to be on our 4th coach if we get rid of Doc and, you know, 4th coach in 3-4 years. But, hey, Doc, you got experience. You coached the championship. You coached the Boston championship team. You got over 1,000 wins in the year. But you do all this. I'm not seeing none of that. I'm not seeing that anywhere. Doc ain't even on the sideline with a shirt untucked, right? Like, I don't know, man. I don't know about this.
Well, you definitely have to look at Doc. I mean, this is a situation where you are still throwing darts right now during the season, 2-8. You didn't have the young guys ready to start the season, but now you're just trying stuff. You're just trying to throw guys in. And yes, it's working a little bit here and there. Like I think given the uptick in minutes for Ajax, given the uptick in minutes for AJ Green. But why was this not figured out? Like we do, yes, we made the acquisitions of 3, what we thought were really good contributors to this team. But then like when everything hits the fan and now you've got to play some of these young guys that you admittedly, I mean, you invested in these guys for years. I mean, a couple years now for Ajax and AJ Green, and then you've got Marjan, who we already have come out and said that we're not going to pick up his option. And you know, I feel like they're throwing darts right now, and that's something that falls back on the head coach to me because it's the unwillingness to have these guys ready to play their next season once they've got a season under their belt. It's the unwillingness to let these guys get that type of experience versus contenders versus these teams that you should probably be able to beat when you get 42 points from Giannis. And, you know, I just feel like I need this team to have some kind of, I would say, like, I need this team to be figured out a little bit more than it is right now. Like, to be 10 games into the season and really not knowing who's going to play and are we going to bench Gary Trent Jr.? Are we going to bench DeLon Wright because we've got these young guys playing well? Oh, but what if they play poorly? and then we've got to bring the older guys back. I feel like even though we didn't have much time in the offseason to get those 3 guys that we signed acclimated, I feel like this is something that needed to be figured out just a little bit more than it was. And that's why I think you're still, like I said, throwing darts at 2-8.
And hopefully it'll get better, man. I had an old mentor of mine that used to work with me at St. Augustine's College and University when I was there. He actually gave the 2001 team a bonding speech and kind of brought those guys together. I don't know if he wants to be mentions information, but you guys are right. We do need some type of bonding stuff. I think we're going to get back to it though, man. I think Middleton coming back again, back to that. But I also think Gary Trent Jr. has to play to what his basketball card says that he is. We need those statistics to come, and then we'll be fine. There's just a lot of stuff, and this is just rough, man. I'm even past the stage now where I'm even upset anymore. I'm just like, man, we got to figure this out. And Doc, if you are our leader, Aaron, the way we win, if you're the doctor of our prescriptions, you got to start writing some prescriptions to get this trade back on the tracks, man, because, we got Nets fans, Celtics fans, Sixers fans, everyone coming at our head right now. And we out here fighting Mike Tyson with both our arms tied behind our back, just trying to maybe headbutt him and see if we could back off a little bit and not get knocked out in the 3rd round. I think 10 games into this, 20 games into this, man. But the last thing I'll say about it is I think what Doc is doing, what you're saying, a veteran thing, and this sucks. And it really sucks. But I think Doc is using this regular season as an experimental time, man. And we're not pinning our entire hopes to see that in the chat. We're not pinning our entire hopes on Middleton. We're pinning our hopes on guys playing up to the level that they're supposed to play at.
Well, and the other thing in this, and Chris, you talked about this too, is the young guys. Doc's reluctance to do that. I am a big proponent in play your young guys now, play them during the season, play them early in the season too, because when you need them, you don't want the first time you got to bring somebody in, you really need them at that point, right? You don't want to do that. That's never a good situation to be in. The other thing is, and I agree with you, maybe there's some team bond that needs to happen. I don't know. Maybe they, go to Silk, go wherever if you want to do team bonding. I don't really want to hear about these dudes in some oversized tent going knee to knee, right? When it's 100-something degrees in there, like you know what I'm saying? Like the more like real true bonding retreats where people just in a tent sweating for an hour, right? I don't need that, no detox bonding, nothing weird like that. But what I do need these guys to do is, like you just said, play up to your card, play up to your stats, do your part, do your job. There's a lot of times where the effort is questionable. Guys are discombobulated. We got smart basketball players playing like dumb basketball players too. We got guys not hustling, guys not focusing, guys not thinking twice about a shot, not looking up, seeing that the player's doubled and going, okay, yeah, he doubled. That means somebody open. Like basic basketball IQ stuff is missing from time to time here. And, we got to find a way to how do the Bucks do that? How do the Bucks get back to the basics on some of this stuff, right? Because it's always the little things for the most part that tears this team up. Rarely ever, you had a night where Dame shot 450, right? Rarely ever is it the big things. It's the little things. And it becomes death by 1,000 paper cuts. This player ain't moving his feet. Where was he at on there? I don't know. He looked this guy just took 3 straight shots. All of them missed. Were terrible. Oh, where's this guy? Oh, it's a rebound. The ball fell right in front of him. How come he didn't get that rebound? What's going on? There's a ball on the ground. How come he ain't diving for it? He's just jogging up the court. This guy's walking up the court. Why does this guy look like he's never involved on the offensive side of the ball? He's just standing over there in the court. There's a lot of little things that you're seeing with this team here. And I think you get back to basics. You get Doc to get in there, get these guys motivated. Again, bring in David Goggins or whomever you got to do. I was going to say, what's your boy? Was Zig? Who's the little sales dude or whatever? That may not hit the way it's supposed to, right? But y'all get what I'm saying. Who, I'm talking about, the little sales dude that used to sell the white salmon for the marked up premium. Y'all know what I'm trying to, was it Zig? You get what I'm saying? He's like the best salesman in the history of the world or something like that. It was like so cold. Y'all get what I'm saying? Like, but y'all understand what I'm saying? Like, guys got to do that. But the motivation also has come from internal. Guys also have to say, listen, I am one of the 400-something people that have an NBA job. I need to act like I appreciate this. I get them direct positives hitting. But the money can drive for you always one injury away. You really are. You really are one serious injury away from that stopping. So guys got to feel like they need to be accountable, that they want to play for the names on the front of the jersey and the names on the back of their jersey, right? Like, don't come to Milwaukee and be ass. Come on. Gary Trent, right. Let's get it. Prince, Even though I've seen probably Prince out of all the acquisitions has been the most consistent, I would argue. Because I mean, that's not saying a whole lot, but he's had some nights that have been decent and had his moments. But yeah, I mean, we got to turn this thing around.
Yeah, and you got to be frustrated with losing. Like, this can't be something that we're just satisfied. Oh, we played the Celtics close. Oh, we beat the Utah Jazz to get back on the board. No, you've got to figure out a way to rattle off a few versus a couple bad teams and look good doing it. It can't be close for the first half and then you finally pull away. No, this has to be domination when you face these bottom feeder teams that will be towards the bottom towards the end of the season. So, yeah, you got to be frustrated with losing. Once again, Bucks lose it tonight, 113. 107, got 42 from Giannis, and still not able to close the Celtics out after blowing a double-digit lead. Let's go to some game balls. Where are you guys going with this? I'll go last. Yeah, I don't know where I'm gonna go. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look at the box score again.
I'm gonna get this. I'm gonna get this thing to Giannis just because you came out. This is a ball. This is what I wanted to see as this team come out and compete, and he is a large reason why this team came out. At least that first half, Giannis came out this thing swinging and was absolutely banging. It came to play, and Boston had no answers for this man in that first half, and he finishes tonight with 40. But man, that 28 he had in that first half was absolutely beautiful. I mean, everything was going in. He was feeling it. He was clicking. Giannis put this team on his back and said, "Man, we're gonna win this thing." And we had an 11-point lead going into halftime in large part because of Giannis and the stuff he did. Giannis is my game ball tonight, and if he don't want to, kick that thing to Derrick Bird.
Damn. All right, I was gonna go Derrick Bird. So.
You go Derrick Bird. Look, Derrick Bird walk away with one. Let him walk away with one.
And it's not just the shooting, man. It's like we talked about earlier. It's the diving on the floor. It's the floor burns. It's the playing the good defense and doing the best that he could do with his God-given abilities this afternoon. I'm impressed with the kid, man. Let him cook. Let him keep going, man. Just a nice guy, man. You know, we'll see what happens next time. Get ready to do it on Toronto too. We're gonna need you, and we're gonna need him the rest of this year, including the playoffs.
Yeah, if we can get that kind of reliable option out of him, just to be the guy like the Boston Celtics have with Peyton Pritchard, a guy who can just be almost automatic from three if he's open, and he's shown that a little bit. But honestly, I'd like to see the volume go up a little more, find him more, because if we're gonna get 4 of 15 from Dame and only 14 points, some of those shots where you're just iso balling and you're missing badly need to go to guys that you have more trust in. If you don't have it that said night, I'm not saying that AJ Green should take away from Dame's looks, but if these guys are NBA superstars, they know when they don't have it going. Yes, they say keep chucking if you're a shooter, but at the same time, man, guys are hot when they're hot, and guys when you're not, you're not. I'll say this: I think my game ball. I mean, I'll give it to Peyton Pritchard again. Like I said, the first half I'm sorry, Justin. The first half, he was able to keep them within striking distance to where you were able to come out in that third quarter and go on a run, come out fresh. Mazzulla definitely made adjustments after half. Doc was probably twiddling his thumbs. But, yeah, I'll go ahead and give it to Peyton Pritchard. We got people in the chat talking about Eric and IV say Jaylen Brown just called Giannis a child in the post-game interview. We saw Giannis throw a little high elbow, make sure to get him off of you, and we saw Giannis do that little shake his hand and then, ultimately yeeted him. So, look, I mean, Jaylen Brown didn't have a great game to be talking that crazy, I don't think. But, I mean, that's what Jaylen Brown does. I think he's got a little piss and vinegar, and, I mean, it's easy to say when you win, but when you don't win, I don't think we would be hearing the same thing.
Child or not, was it goofy, for Giannis to do the little fake handshake thing, and is that something that I expect a 10-year-old to do? 100%. But you know what? Giannis came out this thing swinging tonight, put up 40-plus on you, went crazy. Yeah, hey, you know what? When you play that hard, you play that well, the team had literally no answers for this man for the bulk of the night. Guess you can act like a child. That's fine.
I mean, calling him a child is cool and all. I guess you should have stopped him. That's what you should have did. Shouldn't have let him go for 42 on you. Mm-hmm. But one thing about that child, his country wanted him on their Olympic team. I'm sorry, too soon.
You know what I love though? And I hate to say, I hate to say this though, but I love it because the Celtics got the win tonight, and Jaylen Brown is in his feelings because Giannis did that man like that. Jaylen Brown, you in your feelings because he did you like that. Is that what it is, bro? You walked out in the locker room and you just That's what, I mean, I'm just gonna point that out. Like, yeah, y'all won. Y'all could have moved on. You played like absolute trash tonight, Jaylen Brown, but Giannis kind of got in your head a little bit, got you feeling some type of way. Okay.
Guy Nicolette says the score was 95-95 Bucks when Lillard was inserted back into the lineup. The same happened against the Cavs, I believe. He is not the answer. If we can trade him for a couple of athletic long players, it might be a smart move for this season and down the road. Listen, I think Dame has shown that he's been able to at least he came into the season, right, in a better physical shape. And he's shown his ceiling throughout. I mean, even last playoffs. I mean, if you're able to just get there, Doc seems very confident that this Bucks team can still get there, as he should, as the head coach of this thing. If you're able to get there with this group and you're able to play, yeah, you're not playing good ball right now. But if you're able to figure out some ways to win some games and just be able to get there, there's no doubt in my mind that Damian Lillard is a playoff riser. So one little bad game here and there, it doesn't really hurt us too much, but tonight it definitely did, and it was unfortunate the way that it played out. But ultimately, you've got to be looking at some other guys on the roster, right? If you want to get younger, get more athletic, and I mean, hey, how about you give your young guys a chance? So that's just what I think about it. I don't think you need to necessarily get off of Dame right now. Taz says he dropped 30 on your head in Boston. No answers from loser franchise about Jaylen Brown. He did come back from a hip injury, but I mean, he still got outperformed by Tatum tonight. We'll go ahead and go to the look around. What did you guys see from the NFL? You want to talk about Deebo Samuel? You want to talk about? I mean, Packers on a bye, so but they Justin, you called it on your birthday weekend. Packers lost to the Lions, which I mean, weird game, rain, and the Lions have a great rushing attack, but I think they'll end up being all right. Where do you guys want to go with it?
Y'all see Debo's pregame outfit? Y'all see Debo? Y'all see the way Debo was walking in with that pregame outfit, and first off, the outfit and the way that man was walking, and I'm just saying, listen, I got questions, and then I saw him shove his own teammate. He shoved the long snapper. Because the kicker had missed 3 field goals, and then the kicker makes the game-winner one. I don't know about Debo, man. Listen. I just think there's a lot going on there.
You didn't like the tight shorts, man?
The tight shorts, the leather jacket, the walk, all the sass in the world, boy. That might be the NFL version of the sassy savage.
Well, here's the problem: they get all this money and they start hiring stylists and they start dressing outlandish. It might not even be his taste.
Here's the thing, though, right? Like, I don't know about y'all, but like when you had an outfit when you was a kid, you had something fresh. You lay that thing out sometimes. You lay this outfit out, like throw it on the bed or something. This dude looks like his stylist is playing a game of guess what? Literally, hey, you got 10 minutes before you got to leave. Here's your outfit. Like, and that's what this looks like. This is going on. It's like, does he get dressed in the car? Like, what? Because like I feel like even if you had a stylist, you gonna look at some stuff and be like, nah, that ain't it. Nope, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. And Debo has looked like one week he walked around. He was in like the what was it, the little jumps, looking like an auntie, looking like somebody's aunt. Looking like somebody's aunt about to go watch their kid play soccer. Come on, man. Like, y'all just can't. No, I know they got money. I know they got a stylist, but you can't tell me they don't have eyes that work. Can't tell me that.
I miss the entire outfit.
I said that in the chat. Oh, no, I said that in the chat. And that's a different chat. And I did make a comment that you cannot read on air because that's going to be controversial if I do say that. So.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was, yeah, if you just look at the outfit, it was wild from Debo. What else is there going on? We got Ronnie.
Shout out to them New England area folks, though, for beating the Chicago Bears. I mean, we can agree with that on you. I mean, that's all I really got to say about them.
Justin, I just sent you the video, and look, I need you to watch the whole thing. Yeah, no. Yeah, but look, there's a lot of bad football today. Poor Caleb. I think Caleb Williams from the Bears is going to be good at some point. That offensive line can't block. It looks like and I watched that Bears game. The saddest thing about it was Caleb would get sacked, and the Patriots players, they had 9 sacks today. Yeah. The Patriots players were picking him up after the sack. Man. His own players weren't even picking him up. So that was a little bit depressing for Caleb. Also think there's some tension there between him and those wide receivers because they're not they're not playing as hard. DJ Moore routinely is jogging on some of these routes, and sometimes he's the first read too. It doesn't make a lot of sense. I would expect Eberflus to be fired in the next couple of weeks. At the minimum, I think their offensive coordinator gets fired probably tonight. I don't know if his key card works tomorrow morning as well.
Well, and their offensive coordinator has had some wild decisions. Waldron, I believe, is his name for the Bears. So yeah, they're obviously not on the same page. Especially having such a great defense that you're just not able to, give the offensive support for them. So that's definitely something to look at, keep in mind. But I think Caleb has shown some flashes this year. It's just like we talked about, all going to be about the offensive line. Justin, you take a look at the Debo video.
That's what I was crying over here about, man. JT, you a wild boy, man.
Listen, I'm gonna put the comment that I said as well in here, and tell me if you hear any lies.
Your gaydar was going off, JT?
Nah, see, I wasn't trying to take the show there. I wasn't trying to take the show there. No. I didn't say that. I didn't want to take the show there. I didn't want to say that.
I'll say this too. What do you guys think about this Cleveland Cavaliers team? 11-0 right now, or what is it? 10-0, 11-0, one of the two. They've got some pieces. Me personally, I don't believe in it just because Donovan Mitchell has been a go-to guy, a key scorer, but I don't really trust their other pieces. Like, I don't know if Mobley can be that type of guy. I don't know if some of their other guys can provide that kind of scoring punch that they are in the regular season. What do you think?
It's impressive. Good for Cleveland. 11-0. Kenny Atkinson got those boys rolling. I think at the end of the day, though, it's still very, very early in the season. 11-0 is awesome, but again, nobody tired yet, and that's where you start to see teams separate themselves. People get hurt and people get tired too. The Bucs situation is a bit different. They haven't been able to click on all cylinders because of injuries, and they've stumbled out the gate. And so, at this point, 2-8 is the end of the world for the Bucs. No, but we see some significant problems with this team, some things that need to get fixed, or 2-8 will turn into 6-20, right? Same thing with the Cleveland Cavaliers. 11-0, you see a lot. There's some good out there as well. They're not into the teeth of the season yet, but you see some things that are working for them and some things that aren't. And you may have some questions here and there too, but the record isn't everything. But right now, Cleveland is leading the East, and you pad that lead, you get a lead, a significant lead on everybody else. Maybe Cleveland locks up the 1 seed this year.
Yeah, man, I think this is a long NBA season, man. Right now, the Cleveland Cavaliers are on an uptick right now, and they're playing great basketball, and I like what they're doing right now. Kind of like conversely with us, where we're in a low tick right now, and it's just the nature of the beast. Do I think they're going to be world beaters the entire year? No. I think every team that's in front of the Milwaukee Bucks right now, including the Milwaukee Bucks, has holes in their game. And Cleveland's going to play good basketball. Spider is going to be a great player this year. He's an all-star. He's playing great ball. But the same thing for all the Celtics fans saying there's fool's gold. We saw you sneak out a win against the Charlotte Hornets. So that's what the NBA season is. But can I say one thing real quick though? Well, two quick things. Mm-hmm. Number one, I know we don't got Boston Celtics fans in this chat talking about fouls when you guys act better than Mel Gibson and Danny Glover. You guys are the biggest flopping franchise in the history of the NBA. You don't even play defense. They touch you and you foul. You fall when you get off the bus. Number one. Number two, can we stop with the Dame and Drew trade talk BS? The man Drew Holiday said on air he'd make the trade himself. If that's not further explaining to you why it's a good trade, if the man says he would make that trade himself, what are we talking about here? Sorry, Chris.
No, you're good. I agree. I think there was some flopping going on, but at the end of the day, man, we got to be tougher as a team and be able to hold on to leads and be able to stay consistent throughout a whole 48 minutes. Until I see that, I have no issues with the and some of these Celtics fans are actually they've been sticking around watching, so we appreciate that as well. We'll take that for sure.
Absolutely. Tell a friend to tell a friend.
Yeah, exactly. On the Cream City crossover. Well, I think that's all I got, unless you guys got anything else from the Bucks standpoint. 113-107. I'll let you guys get your last thoughts, but I'll go real quickly. Listen, this team needs to figure out a way to get in the win column multiple times in a row. They've got to string something together, because when we finally got our second win of the season, I'm like, okay, yes, we beat a bad Jazz team, but is this the one that's going to get us back over the hump? But then, look, you get blown out by the Knicks, and then you go play the Celtics and lose in a tight one, and now it feels like we're back to square one. And maybe we were a little positive on this show because we did like from some of the things we saw from this Bucks team, but man, we're looking for anything positive at this point. I mean, because all these losses piling up, it doesn't do much for us to just be doom and gloom all the time. So I'll say that. And if we're able to get some key contributions from these young guys that we are taking chances on and are playing in the lineup, I think we can at least be able to put together good performances against a bad team and in the next couple we have in Toronto and Detroit and Charlotte and stuff like that. These are teams you should beat. These are teams that you're way more mature than. These are teams that you have the star power over, and I think you've got to show it. You got to show it. You got to play like it, and we'll see if that results in maybe 5-game win streak, 6-game win streak with a win over the Pacers, stuff like that. And if we're able to do that, this post-game show will be a lot more happy, and we'll be able to give you guys some winning post-games.
Yeah, you got the Raptors on Tuesday, you got the Pistons on Wednesday. Let's one game at a time. Let's get a win, and like Chris said, let's see if we can't build some momentum here. And listen, sometimes you got to find a way to win. Sometimes you got to steal a win. We shouldn't be talking about stealing a win or finding a way to win against the lowly Pistons or Raptors. But at the end of the day, hey, we are where we are right now. We 2-8, and we got to get. I love 3-8 sounds better than 2-8. 4-8 sounds better than 2-8. So, hey, let's get a win. Let's lock in. Put this loss behind us. And again, every day you 0-0. So jump out there. Let's get a win. Let's get a couple wins under our belt, and go from there. Because remember, it's a long season, as Justin said, and you never know. During the middle of the season, you might be dealing with some injuries. You may have some guys having to miss some time. You want to go ahead and build whatever cushion you can there instead of being behind at that point.
Yeah, definitely appreciate all y'all getting us to this 1,000 likes, man. Appreciate y'all brothers for having me on the show this year. It's been nothing but fun. I just want to issue the challenge that if you're in this chat right now, no matter what team base you follow, go ahead and like and subscribe so that when we're back above 500 and when we're back in that top 4 of the East, you can come here. You don't just got to come here when we're down and kick us when we're down. But when we come back and we go on this great run this year, and you see us at the end of the year and it's a parade in our city, make sure you come right back here. Don't just talk to stuff when we 2-8.
Yeah, and we'll be here throughout the rest of the season. We'll be here for these wins. We'll be here for the losses. We'll be there for you. And like we said, we appreciate everybody tuning in and sharing their thoughts. I know I'm subbing in for Trey, so I wasn't able to get to a ton of your comments today. It's a new thing for me. But listen, you guys were there. You guys were present, and you guys have a lot to say, and we appreciate it. We really enjoy you guys pulling up to the Cream City crossover. This has been a Cream City Media Group production from Chris King.
Justin.
JT.
Hey, man, if we are your enemy, it's only because we dare to tell you the truth. See you guys. Have a good night. Don't take no wood. Nichols, appreciate you.